Welcome to the amazing world. Today we are going to learn about the Russian Revolution of 1905, the causes, the main incident that led to the revolution, and the result of the revolution. To understand the causes of the revolution, we need to understand the situation that Russia was at the beginning of 1905. In 1904, we see that the liberals in Russia were demanding for the end of autocracy or abolishment of autocracy. At the same time, the Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party and the Socialist Revolutionary Party, along with the liberals, were demanding for a constitution. They were also supported by the nationalists within the empire and the Zaydists who wanted to modernize Islam. Zaydists were those Muslims revolutionary Muslims who wanted to modernize Islam. All were together and demanding for a constitution, putting an end to autocracy. The reason for the workers was that the condition of workers was very bad by 1904. The workers under the leadership of Father George Dupont had established an assembly of Russian workers in the government. But by then it was seen that their wages were going down by 20% and the price of food was only increasing. So there was a lot of dissatisfaction among the workers that led them to revolt against the Tsar. So the main cause of the revolution of 1905 was that the increase in price of essential goods and wages going down by 20% made the workers very unhappy. The other thing that led to this was that 4 members of the Assembly of the Russian Workers that was created by Father Dupont now were dismissed, and as a result, the workers of the iron works called for immediate action. And the result was that they met in thousands. 10,000 workers met at St. Petersburg, and striking and demanding reduction in hours of work to 8 hours, increase of wages, and improvement in the working conditions. They raised their voices and now fought for their rights. Now the strike by workers and their demands came along with Father Dupont leading the striking workers to march to Winter Palace in an attempt to present the petition to the Tsar so that he would make some amendments to what was done. But instead of that, what happened was something different. There, while they reached, they were attacked by the police and the Cossacks. Hundreds of workers were killed and about 300 wounded. And so this incident came to be known as the Bloody Sunday incident in 1905. And this sparked the revolution of 1905. The revolution of 1905 spread like fire. Strikes took place all over the country, universities closed down, student bodies tagged walkouts, complaining about the lack of civil liberties. Lawyers, doctors, engineers, even middle class workers established union of unions and demanded a constituent assembly to be formed. With so much of revolt, the Tsar had to cool or put down the revolutionaries. So, to put down the revolutionaries and retain his throne, he came out with an October manifesto of the Constitution, which enacted establishment of the State Duma. So, the result of the revolution was that the Tsar set up a constitution, and the constitution said that there would be a Duma, that is, the state Duma would be there. Freedom of speech, freedom of holding meetings would be given, and laws been made. But was all this good for the people? No, it had its own limitations. Now, what were the limitations? Was that Tsar Nicholas still remained in power. And how did he put his limitations was that he said the Duma would be elected body. Only with certain classes of people could vote. Freedom of speech and freedom of holding meetings was given. But again, with limitations, political parties still functioned under severe restrictions. Unions worked unofficially because of the restrictions that were there. Laws that were made would be introduced only after agreement with the Duma. But were these laws still implemented? No. The Tsar retained the right to veto any legislations passed. So whatever laws were made by the Duma, even if they agreed in the Duma, if the Tsar wanted, he could veto these legislations. So there were good things that yes, a constitution was made, a assembly was formed, or a government was formed called the Duma, like what you have today as Parliament House. Freedom was there, laws were made, but each had its own drawbacks within the Constitution. This was the result of the revolution of 1905. As I mentioned, there was a parliament called a consultative parliament or a Duma. But did this function well under the new constitution? Let us understand. The first Duma lasted only for 75 days. The second one was re-elected within 3 months and lasted 4 months. And by the time the third Duma came in, the Tsar did not want anyone to question his authority, nor any reduction in his powers. Instead, he changed the voting laws and seen that the third Duma consisted of the conservative politicians and did away with the liberals and revolutionaries. You can look at the picture. It shows the Duma functioning under the Tsar. To summarize today's lesson, we have the liberals, the Russian social democrats, social revolutionaries demand for a constitution. In 1904, the condition of workers was bad as prices of essentials rose while wages were reduced by 20%. Father Gipon had established the Assembly of Russian Workers in government. But the dismissal of 4 workers of the Russian workers called for industrial action as the striking workers demanded for reduction in working hours, increase in wages, and improvement in condition. Father Gippon led the workers to march to Winter Palace in an attempt to present a petition to the Tsar and try to find some solution. But this incident is known as Bloody Sunday, where hundreds of workers were killed and about 300 wounded as they were attacked by the police and the Cossacks. As the revolution spread throughout the country, sections of society demanded for a constitution. Yes, the revolutionaries were defeated as Tsar Nicholas II retained the throne, say through the October Manifesto, the constitution, and the establishment of the State Duma. Thank you and see you in the next video.